It's religion and science living together on the same piece of cloth.
Ever since the Shroud first really appears in history, there's been controversy about it, and there have been questions about its authenticity.
For centuries, the Shroud of Turin kept its secrets hidden until artificial intelligence uncovered something no one ever expected. So the question is no longer whether the Shroud is real or fake. The real question is this: what truly happened in the instant this image was formed? Stay with us, because what artificial intelligence revealed next doesn't just challenge history, it changes everything. As the analysis began, the server room sprang to life. Cooling fans thundered as massive streams of data from the Shroud flooded into the system. The mission seemed simple enough: examine the cloth's microscopic fibers with unprecedented precision. But less than 30 minutes later, everything changed. The screens suddenly lit up in red. An anomaly had been detected. The scientists fell silent as the AI started isolating something buried beneath the visible image. This wasn't random noise or digital interference. It had structure, order, purpose. A precise mathematical pattern was hidden deep within the fabric itself. What the system revealed forced even the strongest skeptics to pause. The data suggested the Shroud wasn't simply an image at all. It behaved more like a record of an event, one that modern physics couldn't easily explain. A kind of code woven beneath the fabric itself. The AI continued its work, reconstructing the image layer by layer. It stripped away damage from the 1532 fire, removed centuries of water stains, and ignored the patches carefully sewn in by nuns long ago. What remained was only the faint, ghost-like imprint of the man on the cloth. For hours, the processors hummed steadily. Then, without warning, the system triggered another alert. This time, it wasn't an error. The AI had identified a structure. Hidden within the digital weave was a repeating signal, an intricate network of geometric symmetry and mathematical proportions extending across the entire Shroud. The researchers stared at the results in disbelief. It didn't make sense. Ancient artists didn't work this way. They painted with brushes and pigments, guided by human hands. Yet, what the AI was revealing didn't resemble art at all. It looked like a technical blueprint. The analysis showed something astonishing. The darkness and clarity of the image didn't come from paint, dye, or pigment. Instead, the intensity followed a precise mathematical rule based entirely on distance. Picture a cloth draped over a human body. Wherever the fabric made direct contact with the skin, the image appeared darker. Where the cloth hovered slightly above the body, the image faded lighter. The AI confirmed this relationship with microscopic accuracy, down to the smallest measurable scale. No human artist could do that. When someone paints a shadow, they rely on judgment and instinct. They don't calculate the exact distance between fabric and bone, between a nose, a cheek, or an eye, down to fractions of a micrometer. Yet, the AI discovered something even more remarkable. It detected what scientists call phase coherence. Running through the image were incredibly fine, parallel filaments arranged with flawless mathematical symmetry. They appeared at perfectly consistent intervals, almost like a barcode woven into the cloth. When the researchers examined them closely, they realized these lines weren't random at all. They carried information. At that moment, the Shroud stopped being just an image. It became a dataset. The team wasn't looking at artwork anymore. They were decoding it. It was like uncovering a hidden QR code embedded inside an ancient relic. What made this even more disturbing was how such encoding is normally created. In modern science, you need advanced technology, lasers, controlled radiation, complex computing systems. This isn't something produced by dipping a brush into paint or by the hand of an old-world forger. The scientists were stunned. What lay before them wasn't simply an image of a man. It behaved like a highly advanced recording, captured in a way that still defies explanation. The cloth was no longer just a burial shroud, it behaved like a storage device. and the information locked inside it was about to tell a story that challenged everything the researchers thought they understood. When the AI decoded the very first layer of that data, what surfaced was deeply unsettling. It pointed to an unexpected connection, one that led straight to NASA. To grasp why this discovery is so groundbreaking, we need to step back and understand why this piece of linen has always been so unusual. This isn't just an ancient cloth. It's a 4.3-meter enigma that has confounded some of the brightest minds on the planet for over a century. The mystery began in 1898 when an Italian lawyer named Secondo Pia photographed the shroud for the first time. Alone in his darkroom, he developed the glass plates and nearly dropped one in disbelief. On the photographic negative, the faint image on the cloth suddenly appeared as a sharp, lifelike portrait. It had depth, it had detail, it even showed expression. In that moment, Pia realized something extraordinary. The image on the shroud was itself a photographic negative, and that realization raised an impossible question. Photography wouldn't be invented until decades later, in the 19th century, which makes the mystery even deeper. How could a piece of cloth from the Middle Ages, or possibly even earlier, behave like a modern photographic negative? In the 1970s, a group of researchers at the US Air Force Academy decided to test the shroud using a device called the VP-8 image analyzer. This was NASA-developed technology, originally created to map the surface of planets like Mars by translating light intensity into three-dimensional shapes. When a normal photograph of a person is run through the VP-8, the result looks distorted. The nose collapses, the eyes bulge unnaturally, and the face appears warped. That's because ordinary photos don't contain true depth information. But when the shroud was scanned, something remarkable happened. The VP-8 produced a clean, accurate three-dimensional relief of a human figure. The nose, the beard, the contours of the face, even the body, all appeared exactly where they should be. Nothing was stretched or misshapen. The conclusion was stunning. The image on the shroud contains distance information encoded directly into the intensity of the marks on the cloth. Put simply, the darker the mark on the cloth, the closer the fabric was to the body. The lighter the mark, the farther away it hovered. That alone is extraordinary. So think about what that means. You're looking at a cloth that behaves like a photographic negative and contains three-dimensional depth information. Yet for decades, skeptics dismissed it with a single explanation. It's just a medieval forgery from the 1300s. Their main evidence came from the 1988 carbon dating test, which seemed to settle the debate by placing the cloth firmly in the Middle Ages. Case closed, right? Not even close. Today, many experts consider that test deeply flawed. The sample used for dating was taken from a corner of the shroud, an area that had been handled repeatedly over centuries. That same corner was damaged in the fire of 1532 and later repaired by nuns, who skillfully wove newer cotton threads into the original linen. A chemist named Raymond Rogers later proved that the tested sample contained cotton fibers and traces of dye, while the rest of the shroud is made of pure linen. In other words, the laboratories dated a medieval repair patch, not the original cloth itself. It's like trying to determine the age of an ancient pyramid by testing a modern souvenir brick sold nearby. The result will obviously be wrong. Once chemistry overturned the medieval date, the mystery was wide open again. And that's where artificial intelligence entered the story. The AI didn't care about carbon atoms or historical assumptions. It analyzed the physics of the image itself. And what it discovered made previous explanations look almost trivial. The system confirmed that the image exists only on the very outer surface of the fibers, just the top micro layers of the threads. The image isn't soaked in, painted on, or etched through the cloth. It's only about 200 nanometers thick. It was thinner than the wall of a soap bubble. There were no pigments, no brush strokes, no signs of direction or motion. Based on the evidence, The AI concluded that the image wasn't created by paint at all, but by a sudden burst of radiation. A split-second release of energy that transferred information onto the cloth without scorching or destroying it. This wasn't art, it was physics. And it suggested something extraordinary, that the body wrapped inside the cloth didn't simply decay. It released an intense flash of light. When the AI traced the origin of that light, it led to a precise geometric point that shouldn't logically exist. What emerged wasn't chaos, but an organized explosion of data. And this is where the discovery moved from fascinating to truly mind-bending. It isolated wave-like patterns radiating outward from the center of the body. Imagine dropping a stone into perfectly still water. The ripples spread outward in flawless circles. The same kind of interference patterns appeared in the data. That's when holography entered the discussion. A hologram is created when beams of light interfere with one another, capturing not just an image, but the entire light field of an object. According to the AI's analysis, the shroud behaved exactly like this. The data suggested the image was a form of quantum hologram. Simulations showed that for such an image to form, the body inside the cloth would have had to become transparent to light for a brief moment, transforming temporarily into pure energy. One physicist studied the results and said something chilling. It behaves like an event horizon. An event horizon is the boundary around a black hole where space and time collapse and the laws of physics stop making sense. And the AI was suggesting that the shroud captured a moment just like that, a split second when the known rules of reality briefly ceased to apply. The radiation burst was unbelievably brief, less than 40 billionths of a second, just long enough to imprint itself onto the cloth, yet not long enough to destroy it. To recreate something like that today, you would need to concentrate the entire power output of a major city into a single point using advanced laser technology. And yet, here it was, embedded in a piece of linen that's thousands of years old. The AI ruled out every natural explanation. No known chemical process could produce this. No environmental effect could account for it. The data didn't even match mythical or symbolic explanations. The only scenario that fit was a highly focused burst of radiation originating from inside the body and expanding outward. That realization changed everything. This wasn't the work of an artist in a workshop. It wasn't decoration or symbolism. It was an event, one that left behind an ultra-high-resolution data imprint. As the AI summarized it, this isn't an image, it's a record written in light. And just when the researchers thought the mystery had reached its limit, the AI made an unexpected leap. It began comparing the geometric light patterns to something completely different: astronomical data. The system wasn't just studying the cloth anymore. It started cross-referencing the geometry with star maps and celestial databases. That's when it found something deeply unsettling. The alignment of the interference patterns matched the positions of specific constellations visible above Jerusalem during a narrow time window in the 1st century. It functioned like a timestamp, a cosmic marker. According to the model, the burst of energy that formed the image may have locked in the magnetic or astronomical coordinates of that exact moment in time. The odds of that happening by chance are estimated at roughly 1 in 10 trillion. Statistically speaking, it shouldn't be possible. It would be like throwing a bucket of paint at a wall and accidentally recreating the Mona Lisa, while also including your birth date hidden in the corner. But the AI didn't stop there. It switched into advanced pattern recognition mode, searching for linguistic structures. Around the facial area, buried beneath layers of visual noise, the system began highlighting faint, angular shapes. They weren't modern letters. They weren't Latin or English. They were ancient. The AI identified patterns consistent with Aramaic, early Greek, and markings similar to inscriptions found on ancient coins. For years, skeptics have argued over whether the shroud contains letters at all. Many dismiss the idea as pareidolia, seeing meaning where none exists, like faces in clouds. But the AI doesn't imagine. It doesn't speculate. It simply analyzes contrast, spacing, and geometry. And it found consistent, repeating structures that behave like written language. The translations were incomplete and fragmented, but some phrases began to emerge. Near the throat area, one sequence roughly translated to the Lamb. Along the edge of the cloth, another pattern appeared to spell Jesus or Yeshua. The most unsettling discovery came from the region around the chest. From the density and organization of the data, the AI reconstructed a phrase that translated to something close to "I am beyond life." The research team hesitated to release it. It sounded too dramatic, too much like something written for a movie. But the data was there. And that was the most frightening part of all. The AI identified these shapes by analyzing how the image itself was formed, by studying the density and structure of the marks on the cloth. That suggests something extraordinary. Whoever, or whatever, created this image may have intentionally encoded information directly into the process itself. Think about what that means. If this interpretation is correct, then the shroud isn't just an artifact. It's a document, a testimony, one that connects the cloth to a real historical figure, Jesus of Nazareth, not through belief or tradition, but through measurable forensic data. In a sense, AI has acted like a time machine. It peeled back centuries of damage, assumptions, and debate to reveal a kind of label that may have been embedded there for nearly 2,000 years. So far, the Vatican has remained completely silent about these specific AI findings. No confirmation, no denial, just careful observation. But within the scientific community, the reaction is impossible to ignore. Researchers, agnostics, skeptics, even atheists are staring at the data and struggling to explain it, because the old forgery theories no longer hold up. You can't paint a hologram, you can't fake a stellar alignment, and you can't create a three-dimensional star map with ink. So that brings us to the final question. Is the Shroud of Turin an ancient hoax? Or is it the first photograph ever taken, not by a camera, but by the universe itself? The data suggests there's still one crucial piece missing. What do you think you were really looking at before the image froze? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this mystery, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more explorations into the unknown. Thanks for watching.